A lot of the people I know, I don't think they struggle with like, I have so many brand deals. If I only had a AI to like make a content advertisement that looked like me, I'd be able to do more business. I don't think anyone's thinking like that.
I'm so excited to have you here. Obviously, me and you actually met at a party when we were like younger.
Yeah.
And even then you were talking about like some cool shit. You were just had a very innovative mind. And then we like stayed in touch on social media. And then fast forward, you're the founder and CEO of like a huge company that blew up all over TikTok called Flight House. Yeah. And you're so good at understanding like content strategy, where content is going. And me and you met up at a coffee shop the other day, and it was just a really innovative, fun conversation. So let's dive into it. What do you think you've seen be the most successful strategies coming out now for where content is going, or what certain people are doing in content that you feel like is very innovative right now that people should maybe pay attention to?
Yeah. I think the big things I'm seeing right now is just the importance of being yourself and being authentic. Mm-hmm. It sounds really cliche, but I think as someone that has like gone through the creative process in a lot of different ways, I still come to feel like the content that has the most longevity and the content that really connects with people the most is always authentic. And I think if you can lead with that, it just makes it so much easier to be able to go the distance with like whatever you're producing. And then after that, it's really just about a lot of iteration and strategy. But I think really just being authentic. And I know it's such a buzzword, but I think it's like the most important thing. So, because there's always new platforms and new mediums, but I think now more than ever, just because it's so easy to create something, I think it's just important to be yourself.
How did you know, like, because when you went into Flight House, it was such an innovative business. How did you know, like, you should tap into that and focus on that, or that there was something there? Because most people, I mean, you can explain what it is to people that don't know, but most people wouldn't look at that and be like, oh, this is going to be a whole company that we can monetize off of.
Yeah. Since I was 13, I've always been like interested in digital media and content creators and making my own content. That when it came to Flight House, I think it was a pretty intuitive, it was a natural intuition to believe that there was an opportunity there. But to the extent that it grew, I mean, I never knew it was going to grow that big, but I saw something.
Tell everyone what it is and like the business model and the type of talent you've worked with on it.
Yeah. So like I said, I started working at this company called Create when I was like 16. And I started to run marketing campaigns. But very quickly, I realized that marketing campaigns, there wasn't a lot of sustainability in them, because it was really difficult to basically guarantee results every time, right? Because I was kind of handed a different artist. So the second that an artist was maybe not as big as like a prior artist that I was given, it was really difficult to market them. And so I decided to pivot into business development at the company. And that's when I started to sign a lot of artists to the company, and I drove probably like $5 million to the company, and I became a co-owner at that point. And so they started to give me more responsibility within the company, and I was just kind of getting bored doing business development, and I wanted to get back into doing something creative. And so Musical.ly at the time was really popular and blowing up, and I saw this account on there that had 1 million followers, and it was called Flight House. And I think I just saw something in like the logo and the brand and the content. And at the time, it was just like a music page that would put out edits of popular songs. And so I brought it up to my boss at the time, which was one of the founders of Create. And we decided to basically use the company's resources to acquire the account. And yeah, I think from there, we just sort of, let it sit for a little bit, and it was kind of growing, and it would hit some plateaus. And I just felt like 3 months into us owning the account that I really wanted to grow it, and I saw it becoming like the MTV of the next generation. And so I wrote an email to the CEO of Create, and I just told him that I wanted to turn Flight House into the next generation MTV, and if he would give me a budget to do it. And so, yeah, he gave me a budget, and we grew it to 30 million followers.
Insane.
In like a few years, and we had on all the biggest, even still to this day. I mean, it's like does really good views. Mm-hmm. And I'm not super aware of the work I do sometimes, especially in that context, because like people always say how impactful it was. And but yeah, it was just really cool to be like living, and doing that during that time. And because I think there was definitely a lot of moments during that time being like 18, 19, 20, where I was like, this is like the stuff I always wanted to be doing, and to be talking on stage and to have all these ideas and to be able to execute them. So, yeah.
So how did you look at a social media account and realize you can actually like monetize it in like the lane you're going to go into? And then obviously, if you don't mind name dropping some of the people you've had on, 'cause it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Name
so
drop wise.
humble.
I mean, name drop wise, it's like the biggest names.
Yeah, like.
Like like the biggest names. No, but at the time, I mean, everyone was like Charlie D'Amelio, Addison Rae, Noah Beck, like
Everyone.
everyone.
Literally, like, everyone has came on there. I've
Yeah,
seen.
everyone. And yeah, as far as monetization goes, I mean, I think that because it was a subsidiary of a larger business, I think we obviously did everything we could to try and make money from it, but we still looked at the larger sort of vision of like, even if we lose money on this for a couple years.
It's like a platform.
Yeah, it's a platform, but also, we're able to kind of underwrite it because there's an entirely other business that's functional. But in the span of like 2.5, 3 years, I mean, we started to make the business Flight House actually profitable. A lot of it was through, brand partnerships, and we also had an agency business. And since I've exited the company, I mean, they've, expanded to like, acquire more accounts, and it's growing. But yeah, it's definitely very brand partnership driven. And we also had like a agency where and I think they still have it, but have an agency to basically work with brands to help them understand social media.
Yeah. Okay, so now you're in your quest. You've literally built something that big, and now you've left. What are you seeing now as the most like exciting thing on the internet that you want to tap into? Because I love how when I was talking about the coffee shop, you don't want to just go do like basic stuff. You're always thinking more innovatively. Like you're thinking very different than the market is thinking, and that's what's made you successful. What have you seen be like something you feel like maybe is the future, or something that you're interested in?
Yeah, well, I think ever since I exited, I was just on this like personal journey of like, I had never really been on my own, and I was with Create since I was like 16.
That's wild.
And I just didn't really know anything else but that. And obviously in hindsight, I mean, I'm still friends with them, but I think in hindsight, there was just a lot of like self-regulation that I don't think I had at the time when I had left, when I was like 22. Just like I hadn't ever done therapy.
Yes.
I hadn't ever done therapy. I wasn't like super consistent with the gym. Just like all these things, I was just kind of open to going to parties and drinking. And I think it was about a year after I left, that maybe about 9 months into leaving, that I did therapy for the first time. And
cool.
I like fell in love with my therapist too. And we still talk to this day. I've probably done all of like, I don't know, 20 sessions since I met her, which was like 4 years ago, so we haven't, it's not like it's like a weekly thing. Because even one of the first times that I had spoken with her, she encouraged me that she was basically saying like, my goal is to get you to a point where you don't need to really talk to me anymore. And even I was in New York last week because my sister is going to college there at NYU. And so we were kind of helping her move in, and I was with my dad, and we were talking about therapy. And I wrote down this note in my iPhone, which was just saying like to be your own therapist, because there was like some problems that I felt like I was dealing with, and I was like, there's so many answers that I've now come to learn how to find on my own. And you could say the same thing about therapy, but I also feel the same way about other people, because I think back to the personal journey, like I think that was a problem that I didn't realize I had working at Create, was I became very codependent on people in a lot of ways. And even as I left, I became codependent. Like I was, and that was one of the first things that my therapist helped me like kind of figure out, was just how much I came from a place where I was trying to get validation from people. And even as I went to be off on my own, like all those problems became a lot more apparent to me about how much I was seeking validation from certain people. And it's like, I wouldn't believe something was a good idea unless someone else thought it was a good idea. And then, so to answer your question about like what's next or what I'm working on, I mean, I think probably the last like 3.5 years has mostly been about just like this personal journey I've been on to like
That's cool.
get to growth to a point where like I have the actual confidence in myself to feel like I actually know what I'm doing, and it actually provides value to people. Because I think I wasn't vocal about that stuff before. Like we would be, signing, we would be doing just like really big deals. I mean, as you know, right? Like when the market's hot and people are investing money, it's really easy for companies to come in and kind of take advantage of that, because they're like, well, you're not going to ask a lot of questions, so we can just do whatever, and we'll take the budget from you. But I think just in seeing how certain things were sustainable and certain things weren't, it's brought me to a point to really care deeply about just how marketing budgets are being spent at companies. And I think when you think about influencers, I mean, a lot of people think like influencers are the future, just in terms of like how we're starting to, create media and like get our news. And so I think it puts me at an interesting place because I've been building this creator collaboration studio called Collab, and it's really just a kind of tech-enabled consultancy around bridging the gap between organizations and creators in a sustainable way. And I always tell people this, but I'm like, the greatest skill that I have running that business is my ability to ask the right questions to both the organization and the creators. Because like I come from a creative background and I still create art. But I've also had a pretty extensive business background, and only in the past 6 months did I really kind of get over this self-created belief in myself that like there was always something in business that I couldn't understand, or there was always something with creators that I could never understand because I don't have X amount of followers, or I've never created a company that's worth X. But I think it's those are just like self-limiting beliefs that we can put on ourselves. And so
100%.
Ever since that, I feel like it's unlocked a lot of growth for me.
I was going to say, I love that you're saying that too, because there's a lot of people that would see that you had an eye for that account and then built it into 30 million followers with all these people. There's a lot of people that would hear that and be like, oh, he's probably so confident. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's building this next, whatever. But I feel like it's so humbling for people to hear. It's because I felt the same way too. It's like, once I got my business, it's not like you get a next layer of confidence, but you're not like, I'm the fucking shit, like I'm the best thing on earth, whatever. You still always have more to learn and always have more to grow. And so I think that's good for people to hear. It's like that you're always constantly having to learn and evolve and grow. So now, what was I going to say? Fuck, I forgot what I was going to ask you. Now with tapping into creators, and that you're going to bridge the gap between like brands and creators, correct? Mm-hmm. I love when you were talking about like how a lot of people that are in marketing are not really asking the creators, what would you do with this? Because they actually know what's going to go viral because they're doing it every day, right? A lot of brands are coming to the creator and saying, hey, this is what I want you to say with this deliverable, and that never like resonates anymore. And I feel like that is falling away. Mm-hmm. And so like what actually works on the internet is changing so quickly, and you kind of have to go to the people that know what they're doing and be like, what would you do? I love that you were talking about that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I also think that like my definition of an influencer has totally changed in the past like year, 6 months, because I used to think of an influencer as like someone like all the people we had in our building, like Charlie D'Amelio, Noah Beck. It was like, those are influencers. Mm-hmm. But then as everything's grown, you start to realize like, well, there's maybe at any given time, there's like, 100 or 1,000 people that are really big that people know. But then there's also, micro influencers that exist within certain like niche communities, like in certain cities, or arguably even like a clothing brand is an influencer in a way. And I think it's just all about attention, right? Mm-hmm. Like,
that's so true. A clothing brand is now an influencer.
Yeah.
And the best brands are doing that, right? Yeah. They're like becoming influencers. They're like having community events. Like at one point there was no such thing as like a brand throwing parties with influencers, right? But now it's like the e-commerce brands are all throwing like pop-up activations and events with influencers that they have come to show like there's like a lifestyle behind wearing their clothing. Yeah. Like that didn't exist at one point. Yeah. Like you didn't see like Forever 21 doing that, but now like White Fox and Opali and all these brands are realizing they have to create like lifestyle around what it means to be a part of them. Yeah. So it's just wild how the internet is changing. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it sounds like so cliche, but it's like, yeah, anything that influences is an influencer, right? Mm-hmm. It could be anything. And I think I was talking about this with someone the other day, but, obviously if you rewind the clock, like even 20 years ago, I think more media was obviously a lot more centralized, where there was only very few channels that existed and few networks and few record labels. And now it's like, I mean, I started a record label when I was 14 and I just looked up on Google how to start a record label. It was like that easy. And I think everyone has that opportunity right now to just, start a podcast, start a business, start making content. And I wouldn't necessarily encourage for everyone to do it, but I think that there's so many tools these days that I
I think I just love the idea that people can sort of just, I guess, be a little bit more in control of their destinies. Because that's something that I try to advocate for a lot, is like, you got to be your own momentum. You got to find your own community, find your own fans and opportunities. Like, don't wait for people to mysteriously find you. Like, you gotta be your biggest hype person.
Yeah, you kind of have to like utilize the internet constantly.
Yeah.
Like, obviously now Instagram is like our business portfolio, right? And so if you're doing a certain niche, like putting that on your account, like there's some people that like you can't tell what they do on their socials, or they're not even keeping up with the times, which I guess is fine if you're like wanting to live a private life. But there's so much opportunity when you start like putting yourself out there of what you can do in your career. I remember we were talking about at the coffee shop AI, and you have like a totally different thought process of where AI is going. What's your thought process of AI getting implemented into the internet?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think I remember we were talking about that.
Yes.
So with AI, I think a lot of people are worried that it's going to like replace influencers and it's going to replace everything. But I think it's just going to be like a new category. Because as much as like, yeah, it's awesome. Like, I love to create AI art and create AI content. But I'm looking at this from the lens of someone who, like, I shot a music video in high school for this broadcast journalism class. And it was like a freaking amazing music video. And it was like so good that my teacher was like, this is like the best music video of like all the classes, and I'm going to show it to everyone. And he did. And I didn't keep it. I was like so bummed that, like, you know, as a kid, you just kind of like throw all that stuff away. But I wish I had it. It was so good. But
You deleted it?
I think it's on a USB somewhere. I don't know what I did with the USB, but I reached back out to him because he claimed, like, yeah, if you guys ever want, you know, your music videos or your projects, like, just reach out to me. And I reached out to him and he didn't have it. And I was like, well, that's surprising because you thought it was so good. But anyway, so I've not had this like extensive, you know, background in directing like movies or TV shows, but I've had enough experiences like that. And with Flight House, obviously, I mean, at Flight House, I wasn't really directing stuff so much as I was just overseeing the production of things. But it's like, I have enough of an eye to recognize that AI is cool, but there's some things that I want to make that only like my eye can look for behind the camera, you know? And it's like the same thing can be said for anything that you make, whether it's music. It's like, yeah, it's cool, but sometimes there's just like a really specific thing you want to make that only like you know how to say it. So to that extent, to your question about AI, I mean, like, yeah, obviously it's like an awesome tool, but I think as it relates to anything content related, I think it'll just be like a new category. I don't really see a world where it's going to replace everything.
I'm glad that you said that, because there's so many different thoughts out there. And like another person I work with that owns a company told me, they're like, the people that are going to stand out on the internet are knowing how to create content utilizing AI. And then they're going to like be able to scan what's working and what's going viral and then recreate it quicker than an influencer can, and just start. Or influencers that know how to tap into utilizing AI can make their content, make themselves, not now, but at some point, make themselves say the best hook and the best thing every time quicker if they learn how to create with AI sooner than someone that's just like filming it themselves. Like, they can put out so much more content. So
but again, it's like, you know, is that even a good thing, right? Like,
I don't think so.
Like we follow influencers because they post stuff that we like, right? And it's stuff that's like from the heart. And like someone else had kind of brought up a similar idea about just saying, kind of similar to what you said. They were like, oh, you know, someone brought to me this idea where they wanted to make an agency that would basically work with influencers, and like basically the AI tool would do the brand deals for them so that they don't have to do it. And it's like, what isn't that the whole point why you're hiring them, is so they can come up with the ideas? And then two, does it really take them that much time? And are they getting so many? I don't think the problem is like, I don't know, we know different people, but I'm just saying a lot of the people I know, I don't think they struggle with like, I have so many brand deals. If I only had a AI to like make a content advertisement that looked like me, I'd be able to do more business. I don't think anyone's thinking like that. I think if anything, they're saying no to opportunities because they don't align with the brand.
Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
so I just think that like, sometimes people just have these like disconnected understandings of what the actual problem is. And I think that that's why I've really appreciated getting a lot more deeply immersed into the problem, because then I feel a lot more confident in knowing, what the actual problem is. But I just can't see a world where where we prefer AI content over real. I mean, it's cool to look at. It's like interesting. Like
But what if it's not recognizable between it's real or not, and it's saying the perfect thing? But you're saying.
But I don't think there's such a thing as like the perfect thing to say. It's just interesting.
Or something that would go viral is what I'm saying.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
If it knows how to study if say you were able to put all the videos that went viral on your account, and then you can put it into AI, have them recreate you saying similar things a little tweaked, and you can just get that posted. You'll probably grow quicker than someone that's like trying to think of ideas. And
I guess so, but you still got to execute.
That's where this guy really sold me on. I'm like, oh damn, that is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
because you could put out content quicker that's gonna go viral.
Well, fair. I mean,
but then hopefully by that point they're labeling this was made with AI, because it does like not add as much credibility. I feel like if you see that it was AI, you're like, oh, you didn't really say that. You didn't really come up with that.
Yeah, I mean, I do know that's like a really important thing for.
Sorry, I'm so thirsty.
No, you're good. I do know that's like a really important thing for platforms, is like they want to flag what's AI created. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like as the AI content gets better, so will the detection software. You know what I mean? It's all just going to get better. Yeah, and again, exactly. I know the technology is going to get better, but like, could you ever see a point where you would just put out like an AI version of yourself on Instagram versus you just filming the content?
Yes.
Really?
100%. It's exhausting to come up with content ideas. If I had someone just sitting there coming up with a million hooks, best hook, best thing, best ending, great. Pump it out for me. You can post it for me too. Grow my brand.
So you'd be okay with like a virtual. You'd be okay with a virtual version of yourself talking like you.
Yes, as long as it was good content.
Right. So I think we're not there yet. Like
I think it could get there.
I think it could get there too.
But I do hope, because I think that it takes away the fun of being creative, like you're saying. And I think it makes people really lazy. And then it just shows that I just feel like then.
But that's what I'm saying. Then it's like everything's gonna keep getting better. Like the AI content's gonna get better. The detection software is gonna get better. But then also like even if we are in a world where let's say people don't want to like listen to other people, then now the new art is like, well, how do I prompt the content to be interesting? Like you still have to be somewhat creative in there.
For sure.
I don't think you're ever just going to be able to like sit back and.
Yeah, but someone else could be getting paid to do that. Come up with you being creative.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying a little bit.
Yeah, that's where. But I do hope that at some point, or that it would. Yeah, like you said, the detection would come up, because I do think that there is something beautiful about watching something that was really created. Mm-hmm. And it gives it way more credibility.
Yeah.
So we would hope.
Yeah, we would hope.
But we'll see.
We'll see. I know. I read scary stuff all the time about AI. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, like, do you think that the world is going towards, I know my answer, but I'm curious about yours, is going to a place where everyone needs to know some sort of content creation or understanding how to build on social media or get views or things like that? Like, do you think because if you really think about it, all businesses are starting to lean towards social media. So to like understand how to have a career in the future, do you think you have to kind of get involved?
I guess it just depends on like what you do, right? Like,
but knowing AI is coming out, and
I think AI for sure. But it's like, it's no different than like, I don't know. I feel like when Google came out or something, it's like, do you know how to like use Google? Like, I think people just kind of start to figure it out. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of great tools. Like even as I was thinking about it today, I was just thinking about like how, there's just so many things that AI can do now. It's like I like make an app, make a website. And so, there's just a lot of great tools for sure. But I don't know about social media. I mean, I think in social media, it just depends. Like, do you want to be public? Do you do marketing? Like, does content help grow? I mean, I definitely feel like if you want to grow your business, I think you kind of have to be doing content to have an edge, that for sure. But if you're just kind of working at a company and what you do isn't like super marketing related, I wouldn't say social media is probably that important, but I'd say, probably knowing AI, you definitely have an edge over other people.
For sure. Yeah, it's weird to think about the future of what jobs are going to be like when AI comes out, like people that are just like prompting the AI all day, like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the guy who started NVIDIA, you know about NVIDIA? He was saying how he was like, I don't think that AI is going to replace people, but the people who know how to use AI will replace those people, you know?
Holy shit.
So it's just...
It's a dark quote. No,
well, not replace them, take their jobs. They're still going to exist. And I think at least from like a social media perspective, I think that's kind of where I'm starting to carve out a niche in the market. It's funny, I said niche earlier, now I'm saying niche, just trying both of them out. But I think that's... They both work, technically. They both work. But I think that's where I'm sort of carving this out, because the other day I was talking to this founder who started a company that I think is now worth like over $500 million. And,
damn.
And I want to say he sold it, or he sold a big piece of it. Now he's working on another company. And I was talking to him and he was like, yeah, I'll be honest, like all this AI content and all these new trends, like it scares me because I don't know if we should be doing it. And I was like, well, there's no reason to be scared of these things if they're not growing your business, right? And I think that's where I'm a helpful person to a lot of these like founders and businesses and executives, because I don't think there's really any reason to be worried of any trend unless it has a direct impact on the growth of your business, right? But even to get to a point where you understand that, you still need to like critically understand like what your business is, how it fits into the market, because otherwise you just end up in a lot of situations where like companies are making TikTok for no reason other than they think they need to be on TikTok because everyone's there. But if you're just wasting budget on social media and like you're going to use relevancy as an excuse for why you're making this investment, like maybe you could have put that $100,000 into YouTubers and maybe that might have actually grown your business. But I think that I'll actually like stop to ask those questions, which I think gives people a lot of peace, because then otherwise you're just always worried that like there's some new thing that's going to like replace what you're doing. And I think a lot of the times that's just like fear, but I think you got to actually ground it in like, well, what do I believe in? But also how do we test it out to see if it actually will make an impact in what we do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, when I talk to you, you do seem very grounded. Like you're bringing back everyone's like rushing and you're like, let's pull it back. Let's calm down.
Take a chill pill.
Let's calm down. Yeah. Because you're right. In reality, that's probably, as much as it's moving quickly, it's moving at a speed where we can slow down and really see how it's going to affect the industry, as long as you're watching it.
Yeah.
And you're paying attention to what's happening.
Yeah, because I mean, there's so many like tools that exist today. There's so many social media platforms that like, for some people they use like Twitter and X more than they use TikTok. Mm-hmm. And that's a certain demographic. There's a lot of people that are still on Facebook. Like Facebook's still massive.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Who? Who are you and where do you live? No, I was kidding. Who is using Facebook? Yeah. It's hard to use. Like I have a hard time using it.
Oh, really?
Yes. I can't imagine, like there's so much options on there. It's like too many.
I know.
I'm like,
I started a Facebook in like
that shit up.
I started one in like 5th grade.
Yes.
Mainly to play Farmville. Yeah, there was less buttons back then.
Yeah, now there's so much to do on there. I hate it. Facebook is just sickening to me, but a lot of people use it.
Yeah. I think there's still like over 1 billion users on there. It's probably a lot of like...
A month?
It's definitely a lot of older people.
Yes, older people. What do you think is the best platform, and what do you think is going to get even stronger as a platform?
I think live streaming right now is like...
Yeah.
Seems like... I saw live streaming start to really get popular like a year ago. Or I mean, live streaming's always kind of been like up and down because Twitch has been around for some time. And who's that big Twitch? I feel like there's like so many different Twitch people that kind of come and go.
What's his name? Kai Cenat.
Kai Cenat, yeah.
Speed.
Kai Cenat, yeah. Speed. Yeah, I mean, over the past few years, there's definitely been like massive celebrities created from live streaming, but I feel like now I'm starting to see more and more every day. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like live streaming is a great opportunity for creators if you can figure it out, because it's like long form, it's interactive. So you're creating this like really loyal audience, right? And so, yeah, I think live streaming's probably the most exciting opportunity that feels like a little bit different right now.
I've heard that a lot from people too. I have. Like some people are talking about going live podcasting too, like changing podcasting to changing it to live.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are trying to just innovate things into just doing it live. But it comes back to the first thing you said is like people are craving authenticity, and that's what stands out on the internet. So we're just going more and more and more unedited. What's happening in real life? People want to watch you just doing what you're doing.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like you were saying, I was the only person that asked about these cameras. Like, you know, I bought one of these cameras actually like a year ago, and I was just kind of working on trying to figure out like what kind of content do I want to make? How do I want to show up? And then I kind of reached a point where I was just realizing that like I was even overcomplicating my own creative process, because as I was like looking at what other people were doing, and I was telling this yesterday to a couple of friends of mine that are like pretty successful artists, and they're in a band together, and because this one of the guys that's in the band, he was just saying like he's been spending 10 hours a day mixing and mastering his music, and like the project is done, and they're successful, right? This isn't like someone who's just randomly spending their time. Like obviously they've had songs with over 20 million streams on Spotify.
Wow.
So it's like they know what they're doing. And I was just saying how I've really tried to simplify like my own creative process, because I feel like sometimes we can use technology as an excuse to maybe mask certain insecurities we have. But then I think really deep down, it's like if you really believe in your message, you should be able to just like say it on an iPhone or say it on your webcam, right? Like you don't need all these like huge studio, and it's like awesome if you feel like you can get your message across. But I just think for the average person, like the everyday creator, like they have that opportunity to just like whip out their iPhone, and if they believe in what they're saying, like someone will, like there's going to be a lot of people that are going to listen to it.
That's so true. And the most random stuff can go viral now.
Yeah,
like it's almost like sometimes the people that are not trying at all are the ones that are figuring it out.
I know.
It's wild.
And I've been on a journey of figuring that out too, because I'm like sometimes, I mean, I'm not like envious of people, but it's like, yeah, I'll look at people like that. I'm like, man, I wish I could just like do that. Like
so simple.
I love how effortless they make it seem. But yeah, I've really just tried to simplify that for sure.
What advice, because I feel like you have two sides of the coin, what advice would you give a creator that like wants to get on social media or is maybe in social media and doesn't know, maybe they've reached like a lull or they don't know what they should be focused on? Like what advice would you give them? And then I also want to hear what advice would you give someone that wants to be in the business world of social media?
I guess to a creator that is in a lull, I mean, there's a reason you're in that lull. Like I've been there before too, where like Flight House, when we got capped out at like 18 million followers, and then it just like would not grow.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know. Poor me, right? But we capped out at a small 18 million followers.
Very minuscule.
We're really trying to get known. And yeah, so funny, right? I mean, yeah.
No, I know, but I get you. It's a business.
Yeah.
You have to grow it.
For sure. Yeah, we stopped growing, and then I was like, what's going on? And so we spent like 3 months just like trying out all these new things, and then something blew up. So it's like you gotta, constantly like reinvent yourself and just try new stuff.
But how much of it is testing new things and how much of it is sticking to one thing and getting an audience around that thing, because you might be confusing your audience? Because one thing I was really thinking about lately is like there's a difference between an influencer that's now a brand and just an influencer, right? Like for an example, there's certain influencers like Harry Jowsey, Tana Mojo, these influencers, they're a brand, right? They can really just post anything and it will do well. They can they can do a comedy skit, they could do a podcast clip, they could post a modeling shoot. Like people will engage, doesn't really matter. They're not confused, the audience, right? Because they're following them for them. But then there's people that are growing their career and they're trying to be like a business entrepreneur. They need to probably keep putting out those videos because they're not known for their brand, right? So they kind of have to stay in that niche to like get an audience around that. So there's a big difference is what I'm realizing too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think like to the whole like plateau. I don't know that it really matters. I mean, like we drastically changed our content from what we used to do to what we evolved into. And I think especially nowadays, like you have, especially in a world of like short form content where I feel like people are less drawn to the creator as much as they're sometimes drawn to the content. So it's like any new thing you produce has an opportunity to still go viral. But yeah, I would say you just, I've thought about that question a little bit. Like, at what point do you, I think this is going to be like very, it's a personal thing. You got to just feel like, I don't know, like, do I feel like we're growing? Like, I just feel like sometimes it's a feeling where it's like, whether you're a business owner or a creator, it's like, do you feel like you're growing? Because I feel like for me, that's the only way that I've been able to create a like line in the sand to be like, I need to stop doing something or I need to keep doing, is like, do I feel like I'm better than I was like yesterday? Like, it needs to be that quick, right? Because if you're spending like a month and you're like, I haven't grown, it's like, you should probably figure out something else. Like, I think we need to be growing like every day on whatever we do. Like, you got to feel the growth. So that'd be my answer there. And then as far as like entrepreneurs in social, yeah, I mean, I think like, I don't know, the world's your oyster to some extent. Like, I saw something yesterday. Do you know that guy Alex Hormozy?
Yes.
Yeah.
So many people bring him up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Constantly.
I mean, yeah,
I'm happy I know who he is, because the amount of people that ask
That's
me
so
about
funny.
him, he's really blowing up.
Yeah. You should bring him on the podcast.
That'd be a dream.
But yeah, he's built like a really big brand for himself. And I saw him post something yesterday where he was saying how, like, if like business is really simple, you got to just find something that people are buying and then start selling that thing. Right. And just like figure out a way to sell it or figure out a way to make a brand around it. So yeah, I just think sometimes like there's obviously a lot of creative opportunities that we can always identify, but I think as an entrepreneur, you got to just find like, what are people already paying for? And then how do I like put my stake into that opportunity? But for me, it's like, I'm always going to advocate for just trying to do something that like you're actually interested in, that you believe in, even if you weren't making money from it.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest piece.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, I always say this, like, it's more than you're going from a place of inspired action rather than like just checking the boxes.
Yeah.
Because when you're like inspired by what you're doing, you'll think of new things
Yeah.
or tweak it or do something more innovative. And then also people can feel if
it.
you're passionate about
Yeah.
something or not.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely, like, I can't even fake it. I'm like really good at sales if I really like something.
Yeah.
If I'm like just trying to force myself, there's been things that I've done in the past, I'm like, maybe I'm not good at sales. I'm
Yeah.
like, and then I realized as I've gone more into my career, I'm like, no, I have to like
Believe in it.
to my core,
Yeah.
or I suck at sales.
Yeah. I totally agree.
You know?
Yeah.
Or that I know some people that can just sell like a pen and like they just put on a mask and they can just sell anything. I'm like, damn, I cannot.
Yeah.
I have to like authentically
Yeah.
think it's amazing.
Yeah, there's definitely people like that, but again, I think those people, like, I think the thing that they like is selling stuff. Like,
Exactly.
it is that.
That's
So I
true.
think they can kind of hop around and sort of sell whatever. But I've seen that with a lot of different friends that I have, where it's like they'll hop around different industries. Like, I've always kind of taken pride in telling people, like, I've not really changed paths since I was like 13. Like, I've
Wow.
always been interested in the same thing. I've tried to get better at it. I've always tried to find opportunities in that. Whereas I see like other entrepreneurs that will start in one business and be super successful there, and then start another business and be super successful. And they're like 3 or 4 things that have like nothing to do with each
I've
other.
seen that too.
And I'm like, I don't get it. I could.
That's my business partner. He's like that.
Really?
He has jumped from the most random
Yeah.
stuff. And then he'll call me, be like, I think we should do this. I'm like, I know nothing about that. I have no interest. I can't even force myself. I'm like, I'm glad you care about.
Yeah.
You can like, he can just make something out of anything, but I'm not like that. I have to be super passionate.
Yeah.
But that's a good point. It's like, think about what does excite you, and there's some people like that, and then there's some people that actually have to feel like super connected. How did you I was gonna say, how did you find out what you were excited about? Like, how did you know, for people that might feel lost?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there was definitely like a point in my career when I was like maybe 21. I think I was like maybe a year after leaving Create, and I just felt like stuff wasn't really going in the direction I wanted it to go. I was like, man, I should have just been a DJ. I should have just like done music. I would have been like way happier right now. And yeah, it was also like back to what we were saying, like about like self-care. I hadn't really gone through that journey yet of trying to figure out what these like deeper problems were within me. But yeah, I sort of like thought back to that because, you know, I had the opportunity when I was like super young. I don't know. I've always been really interested in music, and I can confidently say that like I can DJ, I can make music. To what extent that like that will unfold in the future, I think like I'll give you an example. Yesterday I was coming back from the gym, and because this is something I've been thinking about. I was coming back from the gym, and I had kind of like finished a lot of my work in the day, and then I was like, I have like a little bit of time when I get back home. Maybe I'll like make some music, you know? And then I got email from one of my clients being like, hey, like we're good to go on this. Like go ahead. And I was like, I got like way more excited about that. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go do that. And I was like, I'm glad I got to experience that because I was going through this like really introspective like journey at the gym where I was like, I hope I'm not just like doing this stuff to like mask some kind of insecurity, you know? And like,
for sure.
Or I wanted to reach out to my friends, the band I was telling you about earlier, and just ask them like, do you guys consider music like your work, or is music like a hobby for you? And I'm sure they would say it's their work. Like they're just really passionate about their work, and that's how I feel. Like I'm just really passionate about my work. But yeah, I don't know. Like when I opened up Ableton, which is like a music software, when I was like 14, I just got like kind of bored by it, you know? I don't know. Like I just got kind of bored by it, and that's why like I appreciate what AI music tools are doing now, because at least you can kind of have some more fun with it. But even to the extent that it's like, I still honestly kind of think about it. And when I think about like what I want to be doing on my weekends right now, like I would still much rather be building towards like the skill that I already have. But I have spent like a good amount of time over the past couple years, like just, I think I put as much time as I needed to into like DJing and making music. Because I think the thing that I never felt like I reached, and I also did the same thing with acting. Like I took an acting class last year, and then I just got way more consumed with my work again, where I was like, I got to just kind of pick one. And honestly, this whole acting thing, like it's just, doesn't really do it for me, you know? Mm-hmm. On the music side, I do feel like I like mastered DJing. I feel like now I can open up Ableton and I know my way around to the extent that I'm going to like put time into it to keep mastering it. I don't know. It's not really something
I want to mind fuck you even more beyond what you said.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
I'm waiting for the moment. No, I'm just kidding. But okay, so I'm like you, where like I always had an interest in the entertainment industry. I like cared about acting when I was really, really little, same thing. And so I just was always drawn to like, then once I saw the internet, I was always drawn to like entertainment stuff. And then, but I naturally like grew up with a dad that always talked about like, you have to be a hard worker, like, especially when you're young, all this stuff, like acting is like 1 in a million. So then I focused on work, like work, like the business realm of stuff. It felt like my belief towards that felt stronger because that's what I like grew up hearing. So then I got so engulfed in this, but there's something that always like pulled me towards like content creation myself, even though like, that's why I feel like I'm so good at helping creators, is because I can see it so easily for them. I had a hard time like seeing it for myself. But I was like, oh, this is what you need to do. It's so obvious when you talk to them. But then, long story short, I was like, something kept pulling me towards content creation. And then what I realized is like, I started my podcast, I started making content. And then I realized I was like forcing myself to make the content because I was so like, I got gratification from the business side. I saw it working. I saw like things coming from it. I got fulfillment from it. I found my worth through it. I felt more confident from it. I'm getting feedback. So doing the creative side, it felt like I didn't really see the results of putting the time towards it. And I think especially maybe this is more like entrepreneurs have that, like we like to see the results. So it was just like a hat that I don't wear as often. So I always knew, I'm like, until I put that hat on more often, I'm not going to like find the same drive and inspired action towards it. So I started like really taking more of my time to start doing it more. And then now I find so much inspired action towards it, and still my business. But it's really hard for me to go back and forth, I must say. Like going from business to creative is pretty tough. But yeah, I'm so much more like, now I love making content, and I didn't before when I was so like with my business hat on. So I feel like it's also whatever you're practicing more.
Yeah, but don't you feel like the bigger you build your content, the more kind of like indirect visibility your business has? Do you ever think that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what also motivates me.
Okay, exactly. So that's kind of where I'm at too, because I feel like for me, because I am a creator, right? Just like you. But for me to be motivated to do something with that creativity, it needs to like fit into something else I'm doing on the business side.
That's the entrepreneurs in us.
Right.
There's a lot of creatives that don't think that.
Oh,
They're
fair.
like just creating.
Yeah.
But I'm like you.
It needs to like.
I had to make it fit.
I don't want it to feel like I'm having to like completely take one hat off and put another one on.
You just have to
then
build
I'm like,
the
what's
vision.
the point?
You just have to build the vision of what that could possibly look like.
Right. So yeah, and again, I don't want to make it seem like am totally like I have some
Like
content.
for an example, I already thought of an idea for you. This is very random.
Are you gonna say it?
Yes.
Okay.
But like for an example, that you don't have to do this, but this is an example of it. Because this was my example for myself of like, why am I going to do content creation? Mm-hmm. But like for you, it's like, okay, you have this whole music side. You understand how to DJ. There's so many things coming out. Like TikTok is like really pushing live streams. And there's some people that are making a lot of money from live streaming and doing DJ sets right now. And they're making a lot of money on TikTok just doing that, even though they have barely any followers and they're starting to grow just because TikTok's pushing live so heavily. So it's like, okay, you've literally worked with brands, campaigns, influencers. You've seen so many innovative ways to create content. You could literally just for a hobby on the side, start posting some DJ stuff, make a whole new TikTok account. It doesn't have to be anyone you know from work. And then you start to grow yourself in that way. And then you could be living proof of how do you monetize in the music career? What type of campaigns can you do to like grow brands within the music career? I know nothing about music, so I'm just throwing random shit at the wall. But like, you've helped people with their albums, right? And so like, you can also fit like as being an example on the creative side of what that looks like. And then because you know the business side, you know how to monetize it. So like for me, for content creation, I'm like always see these influencers and I'm like, dude, if I had what you had, I would know exactly what to do with it. You probably feel that way.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you're not even scratching the surface of what I would do. So then it's like, okay, if I keep creating content and I keep sharpening my business tools, at some point they're all going to come together, right? And then at some point, influencers are going to give me way more credibility because I'm living proof of what they want. But I also understand the business side.
So I also went through that, like exactly what you described. Like I've already done that.
Yes.
But to the extent that I had to open that door and be like, yeah, this isn't for me. Because yeah, last year I think like even to the points of like why I got the camera, like I wanted to like film these DJ sets. That was like literally one of the main reasons I got the camera.
Yes.
And then I kept doing them, and I was like, what happened was through this whole journey, I ended up mastering DJing because I played this show in New York, and I was always like so nervous to like get up and do these shows because I was like, there's these things that I can't do perfectly. And then after that show in New York, I was like, oh no, I actually don't even need all this stuff anymore. Because like when you think about what it takes to be a successful artist, like a music artist, it's not the DJing, it's your music.
100%.
So it's way more important to spend more of your time making original music than it is DJing. DJing is like a great skill though, but I don't think it's going to be the thing that's going to get you there.
That's so true.
Totally. It's like if you make great music, you can just post like like I'm telling you, I was watching a video yesterday of this dude that I really like. His name is Daniel Allen. He just played like Lollapalooza, and he was just saying how with content, like it's okay to like basically just be okay with being cringe. And he was like, I posted my song like 50 times, and it wasn't until like the 50th video that it blew up and it went viral, and everyone like the comments went from this is cringe to the song started blowing up and this is dope. But again, I really needed to ask myself like,
that's cool.
Like when I listen to some of these artists talk, like these musicians, I'll give you I'll give you an example from my friends, and then I'll come back to my own example. But one of my friends, funny enough, the friend who was signed by the agent here in LA when I came to audition, because he's only like 4 years older than me, 6 years older than me. But he was saying how, you know, he did acting when he was younger, and he was the main character in this movie. And it was like an indie film. And then he stopped doing acting because he just felt like it wasn't very like stable. And I don't mean that in like an income perspective. He was just like, I mean, from the income perspective, sure.
Yes.
But also just like, oh, you have an audition tomorrow. You have an audition in 5 hours.
Yeah,
you know, it's just
like
all,
crazy.
It's crazy. And he was like, I just can't deal with that. Like as he got older. And he was watching that video of Timothée Chalamet where he was like accepting that award, and he was like, I want to be one of the greats. And he was like, I remember watching that video recently, and he was like, I never felt that way about acting.
Wow.
You know, it's like, And so sometimes you got to like be honest with yourself, right? Like to your point about like what's for us and what's not for us. I've always been a believer that like if you're interested in something, you can always find a different way in. And that's kind of what I did with music. Like I was interested in music. I figured out right away that like there's people like my friends that are like real touring artists. Like basically when I talked about the 6 months that I wrote an article every day, there's artists that like that's how they look at Ableton and music production. Like they'll make a song every day.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like they had that like
they're like in the studio every day.
Yeah, they had that like
addiction,
obsession with it, and that's how I felt about the work that I did. You know, it was like I have that obsession for it. And again, I felt like there was definitely like the itches I needed to scratch, and I sort of tell myself like, I mean, I'm playing a show in October in San Francisco for Tech Week.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
You're DJing?
I'm DJing.
Look at you. He's like, I don't know if I'm going to do this, doing shows.
No, well, I'm doing it, but it's like, I think I've learned, like, this isn't one of those things that I need to put so much pressure on of like, I got to put out a TikTok live every day of me DJing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's a great idea and suggestion, but it's just like, I did go through that, and I'm glad I did. Because I think sometimes for me to have that confidence to like, yeah, just feel like, okay, yeah, I can show up and play a show in October. It's like, well, it was a whole process for me to get there. Because if you were to ask me like 4 years ago,
yeah,
you know, it's like I wouldn't have felt ready for that.
Yeah.
But also like I'm also bringing a lot of new ideas to this show, and I think we might have like an AI artist like headline it because it's Tech Week, so we're trying to make it. There's like all these screens and all these like cool visuals. But you know, like I also have like a live stream show that I've kind of want to divert like most of my creative energy towards. And actually right before I came here, I was on a call with my friends because we were just like kind of riffing on it. And I feel really good about like what I want to do with this show, to start putting out content. Because I think to your point, I'd rather put, I don't know, let's just say like 60% of the time into my business, I'm trying to like do math here, 35% into the content, and then maybe 5% can be allocated to like, you know, just messing around with some AI tools. But still, I was thinking about it for music, I'm saying. But I was thinking about it yesterday. I was like, I'm still kind of getting there, like as a musician, where it's like, I've always had different ideas that I've like put out. I've always struggled with completing my songs though. That's always been like what kind of stopped me from being better. But then I was like, but where am I creating from? Because this isn't really much of a release for me. I think I like the performing more than anything else. But to that extent, like I am happy with just doing the shows that I get invited to play. And it's like, I'll put it to you like this, because this is what makes sense to me. Is like, I'm solving a relatively specific, but also big problem right now in the industry. And I felt like, well, I have a lot of creative energy. Why don't I allocate that towards like some kind of like a live stream show that's like relevant to the space I'm in? And maybe in the future, when I think about solving a problem on like the music tech side, like I've already have this like whole skill set that I built in music that then I'll be able to like better deploy then.
For sure.
You know? So I just think at some point as like humans, like we only have so many hours in the day, and it's like you got to be okay with like doing some stuff, not doing other things. And you know, we don't know how much time we have like on this earth. Like hopefully we're here for a long time, but I think I made a lot of peace with that decision to be where I'm at, and to just not feel like I'm not pursuing gifts that I have, you know?
For sure. I was going to say too, I think the tie away is that we all need to like give something the time. Like for me, how I didn't find content creation being that inspiring. And then once I started doing it more, now I love it. So I feel like it's like, if you're drawn to something, give it the actual time it needs. Don't just be like, well, I don't feel inspired by it, I'm going to pull away. If there's something calling to you, give it enough time to really try it and put the energy towards it and then make the decision. But I also, another tie away to what you're saying is like, you don't know why you're called to certain things, and at some point in your life it all comes together, and then you're like, that's why I learned
exactly. Like I gave music the time, for sure. Like I said, if you were to, I didn't even know, I was thinking back to it, because when I was DJing when I was 14, I didn't actually learn how to DJ until, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago. Like someone actually taught me, and then I didn't actually like master it until maybe like this past summer when I played that show. And excuse me. Even with like the music production software, it was the same thing. I was like, I don't know this. And then it was just through like some tutorials I watched and working with some friends that I was like, I know how to use it. Do I feel like called? Like DJing, it's not inherently like, I mean, I'm not trying to like shit on DJs. It is kind of boring, to be honest. Like I think most DJs might agree with that. I don't know. It's kind of boring unless you're like headlining Coachella and it's your show and it's your music. Like that's when it becomes fun. But to get there, it's like you have to be okay with all the work that's going to go into like making music you like and making you know. So it's like, yeah. But to your point, I think I gave like music and acting the time to then feel better about like I don't feel guilty for putting as much focus into the things I'm doing now. And
because you've tried it all out.
Because I've tried it all out.
You're not going to be confused later, like, oh, should I have done that? Should I do this? You're getting more, and that's why it's so good to dabble into so many things that interest you, because you get more confident on the lane you're supposed to be in. And then, you, like I said, you're not going to know how that's going to help you in the future. Like you even doing the music, you've helped with a lot of album releases and artists, right, on social media.
I mean, it's helped me definitely like empathize with artists a lot more, like musicians,
and understand them and understand their work and yeah. Okay, amazing. Okay, so tell everyone where they can find you on social media. We covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, Jacob Pace on all socials.
And people need to watch you because you're always doing some innovative shit. So
yeah, I'm
excited to see where you go next.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been kind of quiet on social media recently, but that is I have a lot of plans. You know, I was actually going to reschedule this podcast, to be honest, because I was like, you know, I always do this sometimes where I'm like, oh, wait, they got to see the new version of me. They got to see the version, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and that's like overthinking when you're ready.
For sure. And I also just like, I'm not big on like flaking, you know, like if I say I'll be there at a certain time, like I'll show up at that time and that's just how I am. So I was like, no, I'll stick to this. But, you know, cause admittedly this was kind of like it was a little bit more reactive, you know, like you had invited me like a few months ago and then I saw you for coffee and then we sort of set a date. But yeah, definitely got like a lot of stuff that I'm going to start putting out soon.
Yay, I'm excited. I was going to say this as my tie-up question. What is your $1 billion quality that got you to where you are today?
My $1 billion quality that got me to where I'm at today is my persistence. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think like anyone that has, you know, gotten to a place of like success or just anyone that's had success, like there's always that persistence. I mean, even I'll tell you, even just like past few weeks have been, you know, again, back to these like existential questions. It's just like, you know, certain things go your way, certain things don't. And I think it's really easy to kind of be thrown off a little bit, but then I'm always really like grateful when I start to see like the fruits of my labor kind of like start to pay off and it starts to happen. And yeah, I'm just grateful for that, but it takes a lot of persistence for sure.
I was going to say a quality I see with you is like you're innovative, but you're also very grounded, which is very rare. Because a lot of people are either like very up in the clouds of where they're going and then can't ground themselves. Whereas I like how you can forward think, but you constantly bring it back to reality and what makes sense.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And who knows? I mean, like I feel like, because I know I've been saying like, oh, the past, 6 months, the past 3 years, but I keep talking about like the past 6 months because for whatever reason it was just has really like shaped who I am to a point where I just feel like I can be in any role, in any industry, and I'll be able to show up as myself. You know, and I'll always ask the same questions. I'll always like bring the same energy, which is a cool feeling because I just feel like in life we can kind of get attached to like the things we have and the success we have, and when we don't have it anymore, like, you know, we feel like we don't have our identity anymore. But I just feel like, I can be working in the milk business and, you know, I'll show up as who I am and I'll kill it, you know.
And that comes from just growing your confidence through what you're doing, because otherwise you do get too codependent on your work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
on.
thank you.
Please comment, let me know what parts you loved the most, and tell me what you want me to speak about next. I read them all, I respond to you all, and please subscribe. This means the most to me to come on here each week and connect with you all. I love you so much, and as you know, I come back every week, so I'll see you soon.